Welcome to the Writer's Journey podcast. I'm Michael Laron, a science fiction and fantasy author on a journey to go from nobody to bestseller, and I'm documenting every step of the way. Tune in every week as I pull back the curtain on my writing life and how I'm building a writing career while working a full-time job, raising a family, and attending law school classes in the evenings. You can find show notes for this week's episode, a free starter library of my fiction, and much more at michaellaron.com.
Hello and welcome to episode 133. 133 is a good number. And in this week's episode, I have titled the name of the episode, quote, "The Beast is preparing a super attack, ... end of quote." And what I wanted to talk about this week is, the last 8 weeks or so, I think I'm in week 8 or 9 of Beast Mode. The last 8 weeks or so, I've been winning a lot. Like, I've been writing a lot of books. I've been getting a lot of words down on the page, and I've got a lot to be really, really happy about. However, this type of hyper productivity does have its consequences, and many of those I am starting to deal with right now. And so what I wanted to talk about the other side of the coin of some potential things that I'm dealing with as a result of this beast mode, because I don't want to make it seem like I wrote 6 books and all is kumbaya. I'm really happy with what I've written and all's good, but there have been some things that have fallen through the cracks, some things that I'm having to scramble to take care of, and I just thought I would try to give a fair and balanced account of how this is going. So first off, I wanted to talk about announcements. I am a guest lecturer at the Fiction Marketing Academy, which is run by Brian Berni of Authorstech. And if you're not familiar with Brian, check him out. It's Authorstech, all one word. He's got a great blog. He is a Amazon ads expert at this, and he's got marketing down to science. And his goal with this lecture series, and it's like a bunch of videos, and you can watch them all for free between September 21st and September 25th. And it's all interviews or videos with people in the industry whose names you recognize. So like myself, Joanna Penn, Adam Croft, Alex Newton of K-Lytics, Kirsten Oliphant, Ricardo Fayette of Reedsy. This is a really big lineup. I was kind of looking at the lineup and I'm like, why did they let me in here? So I'm talking about writing to market and how I wrote my Good Necromancer series to market. And the whole goal of the seminar is to help people learn how to market their fiction better. And like I said, you can watch everything for free. You can go watch it at authorlevelup.com/fiction marketing academy. There is an all access pass option that you can purchase, which will give you some behind the scenes things, some bonus videos. I recorded a bonus video for the Access Pass people, that sort of thing. So if you want the behind the scenes goods, then you can purchase a pass. But it doesn't cost you anything to go to the link authorlevelup.com/fiction marketing academy. Just sign up and you'll get access to the courses or access to the videos. And then after that, after the 26th or 27th, the videos will come down. So if you need some marketing assistance, you want to maybe pick up some things that you haven't learned, be sure to check it out. I think that this is a really, really good lineup of folks. So what I wanted to talk about next was wins for the week. So I'm going to punt this football a little bit. I got a lot of accomplishments this week. A lot. I've done a lot of things. So I'm just going to punt that because that'll come up organically throughout the topic of the week. So lesson learned this week. So another thing I wanted to, I guess this is a lesson learned / announcement that I forgot to cover. First things first, I have been documenting my Beast Mode journey on my YouTube community tab. And YouTube community tab is great because a lot of people see it and a lot of people have commented every day, and a lot of the comments have been around how much people appreciate the fact that I'm sharing a lot of this information publicly. They've enjoyed following that. And so I thought, well, that's cool. I really like that. I'm really enjoying posting to the YouTube community tab, but I probably would have a bigger and a wider reach if I syndicated this to my blog. So what I'm doing effective Monday of this week, you can now start to see my updates for Beast Mode at authorlevelup.com/blog. I'll basically be posting every day on my blog, and then I'll be also posting the same information to my YouTube community tab. Now, those of you who know me know that that's not efficient, and it is bothering the heck out of me that I have to do that. Because you guys know me, I like one click or one place and it goes out everywhere, but I can't do that because the gods over at YouTube have said that we can't do that. So it is what it is. I don't like the idea of posting in multiple places, but the YouTube community tab is a very, very good way to market my work. I get a lot of engagement there. I get a lot of likes there. I can put stuff on that community tab and get a lot of really good feedback really quickly. So I have no plans to stop posting there. But for those of you who maybe aren't on YouTube community tab, which is probably 99% of you, you can now follow me on my blog at authorlevelup.com/blog. You should be able to subscribe via RSS. If you can't, I'll work on how to get that fixed. But the lesson learned this week, and it's something I did in the past, but it's just something I haven't done lately, but I remembered it, and it's like, oh, this is so awesome, the fact that I can do this. So Ulysses is the writing app that I use for most of my nonfiction. And I use it to organize the writer's journey. I use it to organize a lot of my ideas. I use it to write scripts for Author Level Up and all that stuff. So if it's not my novels, I'm probably working in Ulysses. And one of the things that Ulysses does, and I love that they do this, there's no other writing app that does this, is that they allow you to connect to your WordPress account. And you can post to WordPress directly from Ulysses. So all you have to do is connect the accounts, which is really easy. And then you can write your blog post in Ulysses using Markdown. And then in one click, you can send it to WordPress as a draft, or you can automatically publish it. And you can even schedule when you want it to go live. And that is a godsend. I just absolutely love that. I don't like WordPress very much. Like, I don't like logging into WordPress and using it as a blog. I would just much rather write everything in Ulysses, click a button, and just send it out, which makes it so much easier. And when I have to paste everything into the YouTube community tab, it doesn't feel like as much work. So I know a lot of people don't like Ulysses. You know, I did this past week, I did a review video on Ulysses 20, and every other comment on that video was, oh, I'll never buy subscription stuff. I'll never buy subscription stuff. And I know I'm going on a complete tangent here. This app costs, I think it's like $50 a year. I hope that if you are a successful writer, that you make more than $50 a year. I mean, yes, I know people don't like subscriptions. Yes, I know. I understand the principle of it. I get it. Like, I understand that life. Because, yes, our lives are moving more towards subscription-based, and I don't know that I like that either. But I don't know very many professions where the premium tool that you use to do your job costs less than $50, or costs $50 or less. Like, it's really not that big of a deal at the end of the day. You're going to make more than $50 as a writer. If you want to have a full-time living, you're going to make far more than $50 a day, let alone a year. But again, I'm going down a tangent. I'm going down a tangent because the last 3 videos I've done on my YouTube channel have been around subscription-based services. And my audience has been loud and clear that they don't like subscription-based services. And I get it. I understand it. But I'm going to continue to be on my island here. I applied for a job once, and the manager said, would you be prepared to stand on an island if there was something that you really believed in? And I always thought that was a weird interview question. Like, I guess I get to imagine myself on this deserted island with a flag, sticking the flag in the grass and just standing over looking at the sea. And, hey, I'm on my little island over here, and this is an island I'm going to stand on, all right, because people are upset over subscriptions, and I get it because of the principle of it, but at the end of the day, it's really not that expensive. Anyway, I'm going to end my tangent. I'm going to get on my boat. I'm going to get off my island, all right? So what I want to talk about next is the idea of the week. Now, this is what I think is the Holy Grail of self-publishing, and I use those words very intentionally. All right. Now, this is kind of keeping in the theme with like Ulysses being able to auto post to WordPress. Like, I really like that. And this is an idea I've had for the past I don't know, year and a half, maybe longer. And I've talked about it on this show, but I've never talked about it as an idea of the week. So this is what like I said, I'm going to just keep teasing this as long as I can. This is what I call the Holy Grail of Self-Publishing. If anyone managed to do this, or if the book retailers allowed it, let me put it that way. That's probably a better way to put it. This would be a game changer, like to the 10th extreme. All right. So what is the Holy Grail of Self-Publishing? What it is the ability from your writing app to publish your book. So if I'm writing in Scrivener and I decide I'm ready to publish my book, or I got my book formatted in Vellum and it's ready to go, boom, click a button and off to Amazon it goes, right? And I can fill in the metadata and I can do all this other stuff that, because there's all sorts of things you got to put in on the dashboards and all that. But wouldn't that be nice? I mean, that would be the biggest efficiency I can think of. I mean, if you had a writing app that allowed you to outline your book, if you outline, allowed you to write your book, allowed you to edit your book, allowed you to format your book, and then allowed you to send your formatted book to Amazon, to Draft to Digital, to Kobo, to all those places, either as a draft or published. I think that would be amazing. That would be amazing because, I don't want to have to log into a dashboard to have to upload it's like 6 or 7 dashboards I have to log into to publish a book. It is one of the greatest inefficiencies we have as self-published writers. And I know that there are developers who could instantly do this in a heartbeat. This would probably not be that difficult to program if the retailers allowed it. Now, again, I've said this on the show. I know I've said this about 1,000 times, that the more people self-publish and the longer people self-publish, the more aversion they're going to have to dashboards. I mean, think about it like this. I've got over 50 books now, right? If some brand new, like say Alibaba got into the book business, I don't know if they ever will, but let's say they got into the book business and they want as many self-published writers to submit their books to China or the different markets that they have. Like I said, I'm just using an example. I don't know that it would be Alibaba, but some big company or some company that's up and coming where everyone wants to get in on the action, everybody wants to get in on the water. Do you really think that self-published writers with dozens of books are going to pencil off a weekend or an entire week to sit down and upload all of their books to this new platform? And do you really think that they're going to want to pay someone to do that? Like if, say, they don't have the time, do you really think that they're going to want to pay someone to do that? I think the answer is no. The answer is no. This is a solution I think that has to come to pass at some point. I don't know what it's going to look like, who's going to do it, who's going to start allowing it. There are other solutions to this as well. I think I talked about Onyx in the past, in one of the past episodes, where it's actually a metadata standard where you can use software to basically upload your books and send them to places all over the world. That's how traditional publishers publish their books. Anyway, I'm going a long way on this, but I really do think that this is the Holy Grail of self-publishing. The moment this is allowed, then the writing app space, I think, is going to get a lot more competitive, right? Because right now you've got this, the writing app landscape, I think, is rife for disruption right now. This is one of the reasons I'm focusing so much on writing apps on my YouTube channel. It's because I think that there's going to be someone that's going to come along and they're going to figure this out. Because right now you have basically 2 different types of audiences. You have Windows audiences who really are underserved. I mean, there really are no good full functional writing apps right now for Windows. Scrivener for Windows doesn't really count. It's inferior in every way to the Mac version. Microsoft Word doesn't really count. I mean, there are some apps there, but there's just nothing with the same polish of Scrivener Mac or Vellum, right? And then you've got Mac users who in many ways have better tools, but the tools themselves aren't 100% complete. Like Scrivener has Compile, but Compile has its problems. Vellum is a fantastic formatting app, but that's really all it can do. So I think if somebody could come along and offer a full function end-to-end, I know you used a business term, but end-to-end platform that basically allows you to do everything in the same ecosystem, oh man. And if that ecosystem were multi-platform, like multiple operating systems, it'd be an expensive thing to do, but oh man, I really, that's, to me, it's the holy grail of self-publishing. Again, I know I've gone on too long about this. I guess I got on another island, but I'll continue talking about this until somebody hears me. Because I do think it may not be as much of a problem now, but I just think that as time continues to go on and more authors are successful in what they're doing, there's going to be more attention and more conversations around this, at least behind closed doors, to maybe put some pressure on retailers to do this in some form or fashion. All right. So anyway, that's my idea of the week. What I wanted to talk about was a topic of the week here for this week. I'm in week 8 or 9 of Beast Mode. I can't remember what week it is yet, but I have managed at this point to write 6 books in like 8 or 9 weeks. So pretty decent outcome of what I've done so far. I've written a fair number of books. They have been shorter books. One of them is a little bit longer, but for the most part, they've been shorter. But the length is right in line with the rest of my portfolio in terms of my books for writers. So, I'm not just writing short books just to claim a victory. They're as long, if not longer, than, say, Be a Writing Machine or How to Write Your First Novel. And they deliver the same level of value. So I've done a lot. And I've written a lot. I've written probably over 150,000 words at this point since August 1st. But there have been some consequences to Beast Mode, because when you divert all of your attention and resources into productivity, you have to accept that you're going to have some losses elsewhere in your life. So I've been insanely productive, but I've paid some very real prices. And so that's what I wanted to talk about this week. The first things first is I've been so focused on writing. Like I would finish a book, and then the next day I would pick up on the next book. And so I didn't skip a beat in terms of switching between books. But the problem with that was that I didn't prepare the 6 books that I wrote for my editor right away. So what ended up happening was that I wrote 6 books, and then I had 6 books that I had to go back through and just double check and clean up. I mean, I for the most part looped through the books when I wrote them, but I always like to go through and just look over everything one last time, just to catch typos and things like that. And that doesn't take me very long, but you multiply that by 6, and then you've got a mountain of work that you have to do, because there's a lot of things you have to do to get your book ready for your editor. I have an in-house style guide that I try to follow. There's things I try to look at from a consistency perspective. I don't ever do any rewriting. It's just me going through the book, looking for problems. And that takes time. That takes a little bit of time. For most of my nonfiction books that are this short, it usually takes me a couple of days. Sometimes with the more involved books, it can take me the better part of a week. And that's, spending about an hour or maybe 2 hours every day looking at everything. So I didn't prepare the books that were done for my editor right away. So that means I've got to prepare a lot of these books for my editor like right now. And that is a lot of work to do. I didn't format the books that were ready right away. So I had one book that was kind of low-hanging fruit, and it just kind of sat on my computer. I didn't do anything with it. And all I had to do was load the book into Vellum, get a page count so that I could order the cover design. And I didn't do that, right? So I could have had a published book probably 3 or 4 weeks ago, but I didn't, because I was so focused on the productivity. And I said, I'll get to it when I can. I'll get to it when I can. And, 6 weeks is not the end of the world, but it is a consequence. Like I could have had another book to my name 6 weeks ago and could have been making money on it and could have been running ads toward it, So it does cost me money to sit on books like that. That's one of the things I should not do, and I usually don't do that. But with Beast Mode, I really didn't have a choice. Also, I didn't write the book description, so when I have to order my cover design, I order everything at once. So I order the ebook, the paperback, and the audio edition right away. But the designer can't do anything with the paperback if he doesn't have a book description. And so the last thing you want to do is be in a situation where you've got to cobble together a book description. I think we've all been there, and that's less than ideal. So now I've got 6 book descriptions that I have to write, and so I'm going to have to make sure that I block off a couple of days to make sure that I spend the necessary time on those book descriptions, and then I'm not just phoning it in. So that's another consequence, because the time I have to spend doing that is time I can't spend writing, and I have a limited amount of time every day. So let's just stop right there. So I've got a bunch of books that I have to prepare for my editor. I've got a bunch of books that I have to format. I've got a bunch of books that I have to write descriptions for. I did this entirely to myself. Like it's not the universe has happened. No, I put myself in this situation. But the reason I did it was so that I could have 6 books to be in this problem. So it's kind of one of those things, it is what it is. And that's not to mention I've got a bunch of emails that lapsed. I was looking at about 130 emails in my inbox yesterday. And I know some people have way more than that. But once I get over 10, I start getting a little bit of anxiety. And the number just kept going up and going up and going up. And I just completely lost control of it. Completely lost control. That was another consequence of Beast Mode, right? And other projects in my writing life lapsed too. So I've got 2 speaking gigs coming up. I should have had a little bit more progress on them than I have now, and so now I'm scrambling to get those done. About the only thing in my writing life that has not suffered is my Author Level Up videos and my podcast, because I said I'm not going to – that's one area where I draw the line in the sand, right? Consistency. So that's kind of a problem that I've got to deal with. And so what I've done is for this entire week – I have blocked this entire week, and I said I'm not going to do any words. If I do, it might only be a couple hundred words per day, because I've got to start getting these books out so I can publish them. The worst thing to do is sit on books, and I can't do that any longer. So I thought, all right, this is enough books for a minute. I got to regenerate. I got to prepare my super attack. So the super attack that I'm referring to, it's going to be that I'm going to publish a bunch of books probably right around the same time. And I think a lot of people would say, well, Michael, that's not a good idea either. Because, if you think about it, I mean, I'm going to say, hey, I got 6 books out, and, that's another thing that you have to think about, right? And right now in the fall, it's not a terrible time to publish a book, but there are a lot of traditionally published books that are coming out because traditional publishers made the really bad decision of not publishing the books that they had scheduled from March until September. And so one could argue that things are a lot more competitive right now. And here I am launching 6 books. Now, I think I alluded to this last week or a couple weeks ago. I don't really care about book launches. Book launches they're not important to me. And the reason I say that is because I think a lot of people listening to this who have published a book can probably relate to what I'm about to say next. And that is that we've all had book launches that didn't do as well as we thought they would do, right? And for me, it's been book after book after book where I put all these resources and materials into launching the book, a lot of energy into launching the book. And some of my books have done very well under the book launch model, but other books just haven't done very well at all. And they tend to do better over time if I put Amazon ads toward them. All right. So there's some books where I'm making more money now with Amazon ads than I ever made with an initial book launch. Right. So what I have learned, and this is something that is maybe a bit unique to me, I don't really make book launching an event. I just publish the book. I let my audience know about it, and then I move on. So what I'm going to do for all of you listening is, it's kind of crazy to ask you to buy 6 books. I'm not going to make you do that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to put everything together into a box set, all of my Beast Mode books. And it'll be available for, I don't know how long yet, maybe 30, 60 days-ish. And what I'm going to do is offer that at probably $9.99, something like that. So, again, here we go. Consequences, right? Consequences. I'm going to be losing a bit of money on that, but that is more convenient for you all. And you can kind of pick and choose the books that you want. And I just know that I'm going to make the majority of my money on Amazon ads anyway. So I don't really care. Like, that's the thing. Like, this is all stuff that I knew going into this, but now the consequences are starting to come out. And so it just goes to show you that no matter what you do in the writing life, there are always consequences. There is always an adverse consequence for putting your time, your energy, and your money into something rather than something else. All right. So it's just interesting. I some of the things I've learned about myself over the years is that I tend to be a seesaw type. Like when I'm focused on something, I focus on it pretty hard. It's pretty much all I do. Like I have a very, very tight attention span. Like it's the one thing I focus on, and I get it done, and I get it done to the best of my ability, and then I move on to something else, and then I focus hyper on that. And I'm the kind of person where if you, in a perfect world, if you could take all of this energy that I'm putting into beast mode right now and divide it up across the entire year, I would probably be more productive. But the problem is that, I do this part-time, so I've got to put my bursts of energy when I can spare them where it's going to make the most sense. Like earlier in this year, updating my infrastructure. That was the only thing I could spend my time and energy on at that time. Now I'm focused on books, and after this, I'll be focused on something else. And so I kind of go back and forth, and there are consequences for that. And that's just how it goes. I think with a part-time author, you only have so much time during the day. You've got to pick your priorities, and you've got to do what you've got to do, and you've got to own up to whatever happens. And I think that is important. And it's also something to remember when you become a full-time writer, because the things that I'm doing right now, like when I become a full-time writer, the way that I see it happening is I would have to build a team in place so that I could have people help me with some of this administrative stuff, like emails, and maybe even formatting the books, right? Like that's something that I should not be doing. That stuff like that. If I could get help with that, then I can continue. Like it would be interesting if I could do beast mode all year round. I don't know if I'd burn out if I did that, but if I had the resources in place and the people in place to support me, so that pretty much all I could do was beast mode all year round, then a lot of really interesting things would happen. But it comes back to the age-old time and resources situation. So anyway, that is what I'm dealing with right now. All's good. I'm not complaining at all because, like I said, I've got more books out now than I had at the beginning of the year. And I know that some of these books at least are going to do pretty well once I start throwing ads at them. And I'm excited about that. And I'm excited about what comes next after Beast Mode as well. I have some ideas about what I want to do regarding a course. And I think that this one will be very interesting and potentially, very helpful to many of the people listening. So I'm just rocking and rolling. Beast Mode, week 8 or 9. Come next week, I'll probably start picking up with... I've got one last nonfiction book that I want to write because I need to write it. It's this book I wanted to do on the author income project that I've been doing. So I'll write that. And then I'm jumping into fiction after that. So I'm going to start The Good Necromancer, book 2. I'll probably jump right into book 3 after that. And then I've got a new urban fantasy series that I want to write, and I'll probably start that up as well. I've got 2 series that I want to write. I'm trying to figure out which one I want to do. So I'm not just focused strictly on this beast mode. I'm also thinking about the horizon, and it's an amazing time to be a writer. In fact, this week, if you don't know, I have another podcast. It's called Writing Tip of the Day. It's at authorlevelup.com/writing tip of the day. And this week's tips are 5 reasons why it's an amazing time to be a writer. And I think the first tip this week is that you have complete freedom. Like I personally, and this scares the heck out of some people, but I actually don't mind it. I love the fact that I can choose how I live my career. Like if I want to do a beast mode, that's my choice, right? If I want to do an author course, that's my choice. If I want to double down on a fiction series, you see, that's my choice. There are good things that come out of those choices, and there are bad things that come out of those choices. But at the end of the day, I'm the one making the choices. I'm the one in the driver's seat. And that's what I love about this career so much. Like that, I think that scares a lot of people intrinsically. Like they're scared because if they make the wrong decision, then there are consequences, that have to do with your house or your family and, putting food on the table. And I don't know, it's invigorating to me. So anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody is healthy. Hope that you're getting some healthy beast mode words in. And don't forget that you can follow me at authorlevelup.com/blog moving forward as I continue my beast mode journey. So have a great week, and I will talk to you next time.
Thanks for joining me this week. If you enjoyed this episode, you'll enjoy my backlist episodes at michaelleran.com/podcast. For your free starter library of my favorite novels, join my fan club by visiting michaelleran.com/fanclub. If you're a writer and want to connect with me further, check out my YouTube channel, Author Level Up, for helpful writing advice at authorlevelup.com. Thanks for listening, and I'll be back next week.